if Cristina Yang never left Grey's Anatomy? What if Cristina Yang never got on that plane to Zurich? What if one of the most beloved, brilliant, sharp-tongued, emotionally complicated characters in Grey's Anatomy stayed at Grey Sloan Memorial? Today, we're diving into one of the biggest alternate universes in Shondaland. What would Grey's Anatomy look like if Cristina Yang never left? We're going to explore how the storylines would change, how key relationships might have evolved, what surgical innovations she would have driven, how the hospital power structure would shift, and of course, what Cristina's presence would have meant for Meredith Grey. Because let's be honest, their relationship was the true heart of the series. So let's rewind history for a second. Cristina Yang left at the end of season 10, and her exit sent ripple effects through the show. Her departure changed storylines, changed character dynamics, changed leadership roles, and changed what it meant for Meredith to grow as a surgeon, a mother, and eventually the unexpected matriarch of Grey Sloan Memorial. But today, we're imagining a world where that doesn't happen. A world where Cristina stays, and everything after season 10 unfolds differently. So sit back, scrub in, and imagine how it all might have changed. The immediate aftermath of Cristina staying would have created a shockwave throughout the hospital. She was the best cardio surgeon in the building, the resident queen of innovation, and arguably the most ambitious character on the cast. If Cristina stayed, cardio remains unstoppable. There's no search for a replacement, no storyline about who is going to lead the department. Cristina had already been taking point. With her staying, cardio continues to be a dominant research and surgical hub. Meredith doesn't lose her person. Cristina's exit forced Meredith to redefine her support system, leaning more on Alex Karev, Amelia, Maggie, and later Joe. But if Cristina stays, Meredith's emotional arc changes completely. The power structure in the hospital also stabilizes differently. Cristina becomes part of the institutional backbone alongside Meredith, Bailey, Hunt, and Weber. That stabilizes leadership earlier than we saw in the show. And in typical Cristina fashion, she would have had opinions about everything: who's chief, who deserves opportunities, who's wasting talent, and who's making foolish romantic choices. Now let's talk about the real heart of Grey's Anatomy, the relationship between Meredith Grey and Cristina Yang. Their friendship wasn't just comedic relief or occasional comfort, it was the emotional center of the show. They were each other's soulmates in the platonic sense. Their dynamic shaped careers, marriages, motherhood, and personal growth. When Cristina left, Meredith had to become someone else, someone more self-reliant, someone who didn't have her person in the next oar. If Cristina stayed, Meredith's arc shifts in two major ways. First, Meredith stays in competition longer. Cristina pushed Meredith. She challenged her surgically, professionally, and intellectually. Second, Meredith doesn't become isolated. Post-Cristina, Meredith lost Derek, lost Alex, and eventually lost the sense of family the early seasons had. Cristina would have absolutely challenged Derek's decisions, especially the DC storyline. Cristina Yang wasn't just a fun character, she was a surgical disruptor who pushed boundaries, challenged old ways, and demanded innovation. If she stayed, cardio becomes the hospital's most prestigious department. Cristina pushed Grey Sloan into robotic surgery, biomechanical cardiac implants, and AI-assisted cardiovascular mapping. Now let's talk politics, because Grey Sloan Memorial is nothing if not political. If Cristina stayed, cardio leadership is crystal clear. Cristina becomes the head of the department, no debate. Cristina also influences who becomes chief. Cristina staying means more tension, more debates, more honesty, and potentially better leadership choices. Cristina becomes a mentor, but only to the ambitious. Now we need to address Cristina and Owen. Their relationship was messy, passionate, deeply flawed, and ultimately incompatible. If Cristina stays, they break up earlier, cleanly. Cristina chooses her career, her body, and her values. Now let's address Amelia. Two brilliant surgeons, two competitive minds, two very different emotional languages. If Cristina stays, Amelia's storyline becomes layered. Cristina's presence also changes Maggie Pierce's arrival. But Maggie does not become Meredith's new person. She becomes a sister, not a soulmate. Now we need to address Derek Shepherd's death. Derek died in season 11. Cristina left in season 10. Meredith faced that loss essentially alone. If Cristina stayed, that changes the emotional landscape. Cristina would not let Derek's death define Meredith. Now let's talk about Meredith becoming the matriarch of Grey Sloan. With Cristina, Meredith still becomes a legend, but not alone. Cristina staying changes the younger generation as well. Cristina staying also preserves the legacy of the original intern class longer. Grey's Anatomy without Cristina eventually shifted toward emotional introspection, domestic storylines, and character turnover. Grey's Anatomy with Cristina stays more surgical, more innovative, more competitive, and more intellectually driven. Cristina staying means she eventually becomes a Catherine Fox Award winner, probably more than once. So if Cristina stays, how does her journey end? Eventually, she still leaves, but not in season 10. She leaves later, and for a different reason. Cristina leaving becomes a victory lap, not an escape. So what's the legacy of an alternate Grey's Anatomy where Cristina Yang never left? It's a show where innovation stays central, where female ambition isn't punished, where friendship equals soulmates, where surgical excellence drives story, where Meredith Grey doesn't have to carry the weight alone. Cristina leaving was impactful. Cristina staying would have been transformative. So the question becomes, which version do we prefer? The tragic reality where she leaves for Zurich, or the alternate universe where she stays and becomes legendary right where she started? In any universe, Cristina Yang still wins.